This is Face to Face on Citi TV. My name is Umar Sandamadu. My guest is General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asiedu Nketia. So the registration exercise is over.
Yeah.
What would be your general assessment? So if I asked you to give a percentage, what percentage would you give to the registration?
No, I think this is about the empty time you are interviewing me. And you have kept asking this question about percentages. I'm not in the business of, assigning percentages to performances and so on. So I have never given any percentage. I decide whether something is has been done well or has not been done well.
Okay.
But getting down to percentages.
Has it been done well?
Well, I would say it has been fair.
Fair?
Yes. From poor you come to fair
and then
you
good.
go to good, and then very good and all that.
So, fair means not all that well, but is manageable.
But we will use it like that.
So let's talk about the challenges that you encountered. You've mentioned the shifting of goalposts, as you call it.
Yes.
What other things have you identified as problems with the registration?
Thank you very much. The shifting of goalposts was a major issue, legal issue. Because I've never seen any contest which is ongoing, and in the middle of that contest, the rules keep changing. It is not a good practice at all, and it shouldn't have been encouraged at all. But, of course, this is Ghana, so it was allowed to pass. Then again, you come to the issue in terms of the equipment. See that there was several combinations of equipment that were deployed. Different fingerprint scanners, and some were very efficient, some were not so efficient, and so on. And there were several allegations that the distribution of the scanners had some political agenda, where you find out that because the least performing scanners were doing about 50 people a day, whilst the efficient scanners were doing more than 100 people a day, and so on. So all these things came to play.
But were these deliberately deployed, these scanners, were they deliberately deployed to certain areas? Is that something you have?
Well, some of the political parties believe that they were deliberately deployed in that way. I think that they may be true and untrue. It will be difficult for the commission at a national level to determine on the deployment. But as for these scanners, their deployment can be influenced at the district level. So at a particular district level, it depends upon the influence of the key players there. You can find a very slow scanner working in one person's stronghold, and then a very efficient scanner working in another person's stronghold. But the important thing that the Electoral Commission failed to do was to deploy standard equipment everywhere in the country. That was the problem.
But the procurement would have been generic, wouldn't it? So the same equipment you have in Doma should be the same equipment you find in
Sure,
Central.
but that is all about free and fair elections. If you deploy a Mercedes-Benz to carry one chief at a certain place, and you deploy a Tico to carry another chief, are you saying that you are treating them equally? So that is what it is. If you procure, you are procuring from a particular source, and then that source will be able to give you standard equipment, which will perform in the same way everywhere, because you are dealing with elections which should be free and fair.
As IPAC, were you privy to the contract or the importation of this equipment that were being used?
Not at all.
You were not told?
You realize when we started asking the questions, the responses that came from the commission were to the effect that the commission did not even see themselves as accountable to the people of Ghana. And then when a member of parliament filed a question demanding the Electoral Commission to come and account for some aspects of the procurement. The response was that they were not accountable to Parliament. You understand? So you see this type of attitude with which the Commission approached its work. It's still approaching its work. It is coming from some understanding by the government that they are untouchable. So maybe when that particular government is away, they will be asked to answer very unpleasant questions.
Are you regarding the current Electoral Commission as partisan in favor of the government?
We have said so in several ways before. So it's not now that I'm saying it. We've said so in several ways because...
And their interest is to see a retention of this government in 2020?
Yes, that was the first statement I issued when they came to office. And we still believe that everything that they have done from that point to this day still confirms our initial assertion of why they were
And this is simply because they were appointed by the current president?
Not simply because they were appointed by the current
because
president.
Their party
the way and manner they were appointed and the way and manner they began approaching their work seems to suggest that their agenda is clearly to maintain Nana. As to whether they have the capacity and capability to do so, we are yet to find out as we approach it.
What do you think would be the level of their influence, if indeed that's what they are working on? If they are bent on retaining another, which you are saying, what is your chance as NDC?
Oh, we are carrying our referee into the ring, as Professor Azuma Nelson once said. If you appreciate the hostility of the referee, you find ways of conducting yourself in such a way that they will be forced to take decisions that otherwise they would not want to take.
Are you not being too unfair to this Electoral Commission? You have demonstrated, you have threatened to occupy the offices of the EC, you have said things in the media, you have called them names, and they're just simply doing their state duty.
Because they don't correct even mistakes that they admit. They keep on repeating those mistakes. So you cannot stop talking about the mistakes because you'll be accused of having spoken too much if the mistakes continue. You have to continue raising those problems. And that's what we are
So you would simply not let them rest, as in allow them to do their work, because they've delivered.
We are not allowing them to do the wrong things.
Because so
long as they keep doing the wrong things, the debate will continue.
You have kicked against the registration. They are done with the exercise.
Yes.
And many Ghanaians have turned up to vote and
to register.
I beg your pardon. And these people haven't gotten COVID, they haven't died, they finished registering, they've gone home. And in fact, from the statistics we've got more numbers than even the Electoral Commission projected. You were worried about the projections.
It means that their projection was wrong. And their projections have always been wrong.
They projected
you have the figure they got.
They projected 50 million. We are projecting 17.7 million.
It means that the statistical service was right and they were wrong. Because before we approach such an important exercise, what the Commission needs to do and what the Commission has done in the past is to request for data on population from the Ghana Statistical Service. Then the Ghana Statistical Service will tell you, based on their calculations, that the citizens who are 18 years and above amount to this. It is based on that figure, then the Electoral Commission will now go and do their projection and then do procurement and other things.
But there has been no census.
We wrote, by Electoral Commission, why? Electoral Commission to what have they been working with?
Now, how do you go to the statistical service when there's not been census? So what data would the statistical service?
The statistical service does the population census first and establish the rate of growth of population. And based on the rate of growth of population, they are able to calculate the population size every year.
Okay.
You understand?
So these projections, what they should have finished
so
the EC.
those are the projections that the EC goes for before they are able to determine the number of people who are qualified to register. So we insisted that the EC should go for the population figures. They refused and insisted that they are projecting to register, I think 15 point something, whatever.
Yeah, 15 million. Yeah.
15 million. We said, look, statistical service has projected a number which is above 17 million, very close to 18 million. So go for that and make your projections and you'll be right. How did they end? They are ending at around 17 million.
17.7.
17.7. Statistical service projected close to 17.9. So it tells you that statistical service was more accurate than you. So if you set your standards low, like pass mark, if you go and set your pass mark at 30% and you get 40%, it doesn't make you...
You have done well, but you haven't done anything.
Done well. You understand?
You have passed, but you haven't done anything.
So that is what Electoral Commission has been doing. When they were going in for the limited registration, first phase of limited registration last 2 years, they set themselves 100,000 mark. They were able to achieve only 40,000 because of the challenges they went into. And we told them that this thing will lead to a low turnout. They got 40,000. So from there, they learned their lessons and decided that anytime they are going into an exercise which they know could fail, they will set the targets low so that whatever effort they do to just overshoot the targets, they will congratulate themselves as having achieved 100% thereabouts. So that was what they did for the second phase of the limited registration. They established 300,000. We said, tell us the basis, they will not. Then they moved to 500,000. In the end, they got 1.2 million when the statistical service figure was set at 1.7 million, and still they were congratulating themselves for having done a good job.
This is Face to Face on Citi TV. My name is Asiedu Nketia. My guest is Asiedu Nketia, aka General Mosquito, General Secretary of the NDC.